Basically, everybody on Earth is stealing from self-checkouts.
More and more stores are now hitting cancel on those self-checkout machines.
Item canceled.
As 15% of users confess to purposely stealing at the self-checkout lane.
Walmart and other stores are not playing around with self-checkout anymore.
This here contraption expects me to scan, bag, and pay all by my lonesome. That is unpaid labor, and it is pure, unfiltered bull. Do you hear me? Are you telling me I have to bag my own groceries, scan them, swipe my card, and smile while doing it? I do not work for you, mister. I am not on the payroll.
Self-checkout is just an...
If William Shakespeare were brought back to life in modern times and found himself standing at the self-checkout, his new line would be, to steal or not to steal? That is the question. There has been a growing sentiment among shoppers across the world regarding the self-checkout. A tool designed to cut labor costs and boost company profits is no longer as profitable as it was meant to be. Most people have probably, at some point, thought about not scanning an item or two, essentially giving themselves a small discount for having to do the work themselves.
Please place the item in the bagging area. Please remove the item from the bagging area. Please take a plastic bag from the bagging area. Please put the bag over your head and tighten. Ha 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 ha.
As the saying goes, opportunity makes the thief. Over the years, shoppers have developed countless tricks, swapping barcodes from cheaper items, hiding unscanned products in bags or carts and pretending they've already been paid for, or paying for one low-cost item to make it look like everything else was scanned. These tactics have been around for so long that many people wonder if stores even notice, or if they just don't care.
Put that shit back, man. What's wrong with you? Put that shit back. Put everything back before I knock you out. Before I take that shop cart and bust you upside your head.
Man, it's just not in me to steal, and sometimes I kinda wish it was.
Data from Capital One Shopping Research paints a surprising picture. While 95.9% of consumers have used self-checkout machines, statistics shows theft increases by up to 65% at self-checkout compared to a traditional checker. Over 20 million Americans have stolen from a self-checkout kiosk. 15% of consumers admit to using the self-checkout to steal, and 44% of them plan to re-offend. A closer look gives us a clearer picture. On the left side, we have 44% of people who plan to steal from self-checkout again. So we're not even talking about first-time offenders. These are shoppers who have already stolen before and plan to steal more when they come back. In the middle, we have 33% of people who have been caught stealing from self-checkout, and on the right side, we have 21% of people who accidentally stole from self-checkout. We can conclude that retailers are clearly aware theft is happening, but many seem willing to turn a blind eye. The reason for this is because for retailers, labor costs still outweighs theft losses. As they say, you don't burn the barn to get rid of the mice. The only time they'll start removing self-checkout machines is when the losses become so high that the numbers no longer make sense. Even as theft rates climb, the numbers still favor the machine. A store that once needed 10 cashiers now needs only 3 attendants to watch over a dozen self-checkout stations. The house always wins, as they say, and in retail, the game is played with spreadsheets, not morals. Every paycheck saved, every benefits avoided, every shift unfilled, they all add up faster than the losses at the scanners. For instance, a single self-checkout machine might cost $20,000 to $30,000 to install, but it can replace up to 2 full-time employees per shift. Even with 10 to 15% theft-related losses, it's still usually cheaper than hiring staff. So while theft definitely cuts into profits, the savings from automation often outweighs those losses.
It's hard not to steal the self-checkout. It's hard, man. I don't steal the self-checkout. When I scan something, it doesn't scan. That's on you guys, okay?
I love self-checkout, okay? I look right at the camera when I steal. I be like... Every time I go, I put everything through as bananas. That's how... That's how I got my TV for 15 cents.
From a corporate standpoint, it's a calculated risk, and they would rather accept some theft than bring back the cost of full payrolls. Prosecuting everyone for stealing a phone charger or for scanning ground beef instead of steak might satisfy principle, but it bankrupts practicality. The process of pressing charges can cost more in legal fees than the value of the stolen items. The money, time, and effort required to confront every customer who misscanned an item or two isn't worth the hassle. Don't spend $1 chasing a dime. so stores often accept a certain level of casual loss as part of the system's operating cost, the same way they budget for broken items or return fraud. In business, as in life, you have to break a few eggs to make an omelet. With companies like Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, Dollar General, Family Dollar, CVS, and Walgreens turning to self-checkout to cut labor costs and boost profits, a question arises: which of these companies is losing the most from this trade-off, enough to justify scrapping self-checkout altogether?
Hey man, my name's Dr. Tallahassee Police Department. Needs you to go ahead and put your hands on your bag. You're under arrest, okay?
Why am I under arrest?
Explain it to you. Go ahead and put your hands on your bag.
I'll never come back again.
This is probably like her 10th time. This is actually the time she probably got caught this time.
They've got us scanning and bagging our own stuff. They're saving tons of money on cashiers, but they're prosecuting us when we make a mistake.
Big box retailers such as Walmart and Target arguably have more self-checkout lanes than any other companies, serving millions of customers every day. And when companies are dealing with that kind of volume, even a tiny loss per transaction can quietly snowball into billions. Here's an article from investorsplace.com in regards to self-checkout thefts that's pretty interesting to examine. 3 retail stocks taking a surprisingly big hit from self-checkout theft. Walmart suffered losses from retail theft of an estimated $3 billion in 2021, $6.1 billion in 2022, and $6.5 billion in 2023. A significant portion of these numbers, up to 50% of the overall stolen losses, come from self-checkout theft. Target is also experiencing self-checkout theft problems, with losses predicted to exceed $500 million by 2023. Home Depot also takes a hard hit, as one theft alone can cost retailers over $100,000 worth of goods. If you had to pick one retailer that truly gets hammered by self-checkout, it's Walmart by a landslide. They have many kiosks, huge crowds, and shelves full of small, easy-to-pocket items, which makes their stores the perfect place for accidental misscan. Target definitely takes some hits, but their shoppers tend to be a bit more well-off. The self-checkout lanes are fewer, and the stuff they sell is harder to slip past a scanner. For Home Depot, most of their losses come from organized crime rings, leaving the store with thousands of dollars in power tools. When you add it up, the pecking order is quite clear. Walmart loses the most, Target loses some, and Home Depot's self-checkout isn't much of a real problem. There was a time when having someone scan your items wasn't just a service, it was a small act of connection. A quick chat, a shared laugh, a simple "how's your day" from a cashier could make the errand feel more human. That was the staple of the past, the kind of everyday warmth that quietly reminded us that we were part of something bigger than a transaction. But now, that human element is gone. The hum of the scanner has replaced conversations, and what used to feel like an exchange now feels like a task. There's this subtle sense of unpaid debt when you're standing there scanning your own groceries. Everyone feels it, even though they don't say it. The thought comes to mind: why am I doing the company's work for free and getting nothing in return? It's all too mechanical, efficient, but hollow. As the saying goes, we have mastered the machine, but lost touch with the meaning. When we trade people for progress, we save time, but give up something harder to measure. Over time, retailers have developed new strategies to curb self-checkout theft. One of the most advanced involves machine learning systems trained to recognize human behavior itself. These models don't just track what you buy, they study how you move. They notice the angle of your arm, the speed at which you scan items, how often you cancel a transaction, and even how long you pause before pressing a button. Scan too fast without a proper read, and that's a red flag. Cover the barcode with your hand or slip an unscanned item into the bag, and the system quietly takes notes. Patterns like frequent cancellations, corrections, or item lookups often signal failed theft attempts. So what can companies do to put an end to the robbery occurring on their premises? Rather than constantly searching for ways to cut costs at the expense of shoppers, companies should consider a different approach to reducing theft, one that rewards honesty instead of punishing desperation. If customers feel like they're doing unpaid labor at the self-checkout, the smarter solution is to acknowledge their effort and give them something in return. One idea could be a cashback or rebate system. For example, shoppers who regularly use self-checkout could earn a small 1 to 2% rebate on future purchases or collect loyalty points. Another option could be a rewards app. Each self-checkout session could earn points towards discounts, digital badges, or even access to deals. Now imagine if Walmart introduced something like Scan and Save Days, where every 10th self-checkouts earn a $2 rebate or a small coupon. A simple concept, but a powerful one. Give people a reason to do the right thing. When people feel valued, they tend to value the system in return. As they say, a fair day's work deserves a fair day's pay, and even if the work is done behind a glowing touchscreen. There's a term psychologists use, which is called reciprocity imbalance, the subconscious urge to even the score when we feel shortchanged. When people are forced to scan their own items, bag them, and still pay the same price, it creates a silent resentment. It's not always about stealing for gain, it's about restoring perceived fairness. It's the same logic that makes someone take a longer break when they feel underpaid. But in the self-checkout lane, that imbalance plays out in real time. A few dollars forgotten here or there becomes a way of saying, "You took something from me, now I'm taking it back." It's a kind of moral calibration, not in the legal sense, but in an emotional one. People tell themselves it's not really stealing if the company is a billion-dollar giant, or if they're doing the work that used to be someone else's job. The moral gray zone widens, and inside it, justification grows. And the more impersonal the shopping experience becomes, the easier it is to rationalize the act. There's no cashier watching, no small talks, no moments of human accountability, just a glowing screen and a scanner's beep. Without that social friction, the moral cost feels lighter. Studies in behavioral economics shows that people are far more likely to cheat when the victim is a faceless institution rather than a person. As the cost of living keeps climbing and people feel squeezed from every direction, the idea of what counts as stealing quietly shifts. Not because society suddenly become immoral, but because the game people are forced to play keeps changing its rules. When grocery jumps in price every other week, when wages haven't kept up in years, and when corporations brag about record profits while giving customers more work and fewer rewards, something breaks. People stop thinking in terms of right and wrong and start thinking in terms of fair and unfair. A skip scan becomes less of a crime and more of a correction. It's not about rebellion for the sake of rebellion. It's people realizing the system isn't built for them, so they stop feeling obligated to treat it with loyalty. And that's the heart of moral inflation. When life gets expensive enough, honesty starts to feel like a luxury only comfortable people can afford. Someone struggling to get by isn't thinking about corporate loss prevention reports. They're thinking about stretching a paycheck long enough to feed a family. People who would never steal $1 from another person feel strangely justified taking 10 from a faceless billion-dollar chain that's been nickel and diming them for years. It's survival mixed with frustration. Deep down, many shoppers feel they've been shortchanged by a system that demands efficiency from them, but offers nothing in return. So at the self-checkout where there's no human face, no conversation, no sense of connection, people withdraw their own moral lines. Not because they've changed, but because the world around them has. In the end, self-checkout isn't the real problem. Companies found a way to cut labor, offload the work onto customers, and then act shocked when people stop playing by the rules. They removed the human element, removed the service, removed the connection, and then wondered why loyalty disappeared with it. When you treat shoppers like labor and expect them to act like saints, you eventually get the world you built. So the real question now isn't about theft, it's about fairness. If corporations keep raising prices, reducing service, and hiding behind efficiency, how long before people decide that honesty is something only the rich can afford? How long before the average shopper thinks, why should I care about their bottom line when they don't care about mine? I'm curious about what you guys think. Should people keep quietly adjusting their total at the self-checkout as a way of balancing the scales? Should companies finally admit they shift the workload onto customers and offer cashback, rewards, or actual incentives? Or is it time to scrap the whole system and bring back real cashiers who at least made the experience feel human? Leave your comments with ideas and suggestions on what you think should be done.